let's talk about the album because everybody listened to it.
Yeah.
Ryan listened to it a couple times now. I've listened to it a couple times. Literally, Champ just listened on his way to this podcast. Wave has a review up on his channel. You guys should go check that out. He has it over on his YouTube channel. It's really cool. He has a whole review of every song, right, Wave?
Yeah. I stayed up late and listened to it. So I was like, what my memory didn't hold in the information very well. But I know I loved it. It was a great experience.
So I'll start with Ryan. What's your thoughts on the album?
So I've been actually trying to hold off and not listen to it so I could make a video, but then I had a decent drive ahead of me the other day, so I had about 45 minutes. I'm like, I'm screwed. I just want to hear it. I want to listen to it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think the album as a whole is a great album. And I know there was talk about, oh, you got to hear it all together and all that stuff, and kind of right. Like together, it did make a lot of sense, and there was some just welcome absolute freaking heavy insanity in there too, which was just great. A lot of stuff remind me of not really stuff they've done before, a lot more kind of progressive kind of proggy metal stuff like intervals and periphery even, and some interesting twists and turns in it. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I listened to it on the way there and then on the way back.
Was there anything that stood out to you from the tracks, if you remember them, the names?
Mirror Mirror obviously is awesome. And what was I don't have the freaking track names memorized. What was the other one?
I've got it up here, and I'm gonna guess it was Believing.
Yeah. Believing was, that was pretty awesome too. But yeah, I mean, I think I skipped maybe one just because it was a slower song. I just wasn't in the mood for it. But
yeah,
everything on it sounded incredible.
What about you, Champ?
Yeah, so I agree with Ryan 100% on those two songs, especially. Mirror Mirror is fantastic. I did a breakdown on my channel of it, and it's one of my favorite baby metal songs I think of, like, that they've ever made. And then when I was listening to the rest of the album today, I couldn't believe that Believing came so close to how I felt about Mirror Mirror. I thought Believing was really, really freaking cool too. There's definitely like a through line on this album where a lot of them seem to be creating a similar vibe, almost the way that the last Bandmate album did with there's just like a vibe that kind of courses through the whole album, which I like the vibe overall. There's a lot of atmosphere on this album. There's like a lot of like production atmosphere sounds in the back, almost like spacey. And I think it creates these moments where you can, very theatrical. And it creates these moments where, like, when they come in, like you have these like spacey atmospheric sounds. And then when they come in with those big guitars, those big fat guitars and drum beats, it ends up really hitting hard, like way harder than a lot of other bands that you would listen to. So I think they did stuff like that really, really well. My two favorite tracks on the album were Mirror Mirror and Believing. I really like Metalism. Monochrome and Divine Attack also, they're like really cool hard rock / metal songs to me also. And I think my favorite melody on the album, like vocal melody, ended up being Light and Darkness.
I'm just so shocked that nobody's mentioning Maya. That's such a great song on the album.
So I'm going to throw this out there. Maya was my least favorite song on the album.
Wow, that's crazy.
In fact, I liked Time Wave, the one that came after it, a lot better.
Yeah.
And Alan, didn't you post a video? Is Maya the best baby metal song?
Yeah, I did. I don't think it's like the best baby metal song overall, but I mean, on that album, it's a really.
Which one has the Say My Name part in it?
That was
Say My.
Oh shit! Was it Believing?
Say My Name.
Yeah.
Say my name. That's Maya. Yeah, it's Maya.
Oh, it was Maya.
Yeah.
Oh.
I just just the progression.
Yeah, I like that a lot too.
Just the progression underneath, like, it's really amazing. I know it's not like flashy guitar and stuff, but when you listen to the chord progressions underneath, you're like, holy shit, that's very interesting in the way that they're weaving the vocals on it. I thought it was really cool. It was, I don't know, it's one of my favorite melodies on the on the album. But Metalism is a mindfuck for sure. I think like the whole atmospheric thing from the album, it just translates over really well to live shows. That's, I mean,
Definitely.
you have to be theatrical with it, you know, like when you have something that sounds like that, you know.
An experience.
Yeah, I definitely think that a lot of this sounds like it's going to be awesome live, which we can probably say about all Baby Metal songs that have ever been written. Like they have a live show in mind when they write a lot of these songs, and I think that they do better than most bands at that. Overall, what would you guys say? Like, you know, especially you, Alan, who's listened to, because I don't know how much you guys, Wave, Ryan, I don't know how much you guys have listened to the older Baby Metal songs. I know Alan and I have both listened to all of their stuff at this point. Alan, where would you put this album in comparison to the other ones?
Shit, dude, honestly, it's because this album's so different from the other one, and honestly all their albums are different, if we're being honest. Like maybe the first two are the only ones like really closely related, kind of. But
want you to be dishonest.
I don't know, man. I have to listen to it more times because I've only listened to it twice fully all the way through, and of course I've listened to some songs more than others because of the live stream and stuff. Oh man, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know where I put it because like there's so many good songs off the other albums that I really like that made me love them. So some people are saying they like it better than Metal Galaxy, and I like them both equally together because Metal Galaxy has so many good songs on it, and it has 16 songs on the album. I mean, you're comparing a 16-song album to this one. What was it, 10? I think for this one, I can't remember. And I'm just like,
yeah,
it's really hard to compare them. It really is, just because they're so drastically different.
They are very different, and that's something I wanted to mention about this album. That like, so there's definitely maturity that comes with a lot of the music that I heard on this album versus some of the other stuff. The one thing I noticed that seems to be almost entirely gone is that sharp, almost jarring difference between really heavy metal and really upbeat pop sounds. And I think that they combined those sounds on this album a lot more, in a lot less jarring way. You know, when in older albums you'll get this like super heavy metal riff, and then the very next part will be this upbeat poppy dancey thing, right? While I think that on this one it was like a lot of the really heavy metal riffs were toned down a little bit, and a lot of the poppy stuff was almost added into more of a rock feel. And they kind of, there's less of a big disparity between the sounds, I think.
I do want to say this. I think this album is going to bring in a lot more new fans. I think it's going to bring in way more. It's just going to add to what they already have. Because I feel like Metal Galaxy had like all these collabs and stuff that brought in more fans. Like they did really good with the collabs, where this one is like a very cohesive, consistent album through and through. But it has the thing that most people do want in an album, where it's like consistency throughout it, because it has the same vibe through every single song, you know, but it's still progressive on the same time. But you still, like we all said, every song has an atmosphere to it. Like, it has a very similar vibe. I really think they're gonna bring in new fans, or like probably even younger fans too, because it has a lot more modern things going on that is relevant, you know, with people that are listening to more mainstream stuff. So it has that nice crossover. So I have a feeling we might see something with Baby Metal where it just booms even bigger.
Quite possible. What are you gonna say, Ron?
Like what you were talking about, Champ, it seems kind of like there will be less liking of parts of songs and more liking like the whole song for some people, because instead there's not the shock value going on from the big contrast between the cute and the metal. It's just more of like a cohesive, complete song.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. Like what you said, Alan, and what you said, Ryan. Like, I think that those two things work hand in hand.
People together. Like that. I mean, as much as we want to say, like, we do like shock value, right? But people do like that. They do like that consistency, cohesive kind of thing going on too.
Oh,
so
sure.
Yeah. I think I mean, Baby Metal just added more to their arsenal, honestly. Now you have really everything. Literally everything. There's no way you can listen to all the Baby Metal songs and not come away liking one. I wouldn't make that bet with anybody.
Sure.
If I sat down, anybody played them all the songs, you're gonna like one of them. like for sure, there's gonna be one.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a song for you, because they do genre bend too, There is different genres of stuff going on in there.
It's almost like they took a lot of the stuff that they did in the previous albums and they just kind of like, and this is just from my perspective, you guys might not agree, but I feel like they turned down the extremeness of each thing that they did so that all of those things can kind of meld together better, as cohesive is a perfect word, on this album, where like nothing feels jarring, nothing feels too extreme, nothing feels too like, oh, what the hell was that? Like you said, shock value. But I do think that it's like a really good, solid, like combination of atmospheric rock sounds and progressive rock elements, but
Yeah,
there's
some of those
yeah, there's less metal and there's less pop.
There's some shit was just heavy as just tonnage. It's like, God damn, this is freaking heavy. But yeah, I love it.
I mean, and probably and this is the I think my favorite part of the album is I think that this might have the coolest riffs of any album. Like as a whole, I think the guitar work, the riff work, they came up with their coolest leads that they've ever written before. So I really like that about it too.
I don't think so, but all right.
I never really, Alan, I never really thought of them as a riff band in the past. It's like this overall sort of like vibe that they produce and like the disparity in the music. Like they have some cool riffs. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not,
old school
not saying that they weren't. I just never thought of them as a riff band. While this album, I kind of think of as a riff album.
I forgot to ask Wave. What did you want to comment on the album?
Yeah.
What are your full thoughts on it?
Like, I see where Champ's coming from because, like, I think all the new songs that dropped with this album were super heavily riff based, if I remember right. And that's like, I liked every single new song on this album more than I liked any of the ones that came out before the album was dropped, because they were so guitar heavy, just so interestingly painted, like a canvas. Champ was talking about the spacey sounds, like really setting that atmosphere. And I don't know, I felt like all the new songs were just more interesting than the ones that dropped as singles. And
I agree. Yeah.
That's what I was wondering, man. Like, are they just sandbagging us and putting out this stuff so when we hear the rest of it, it's gonna be like, holy crap?
That's what they did. It feels like they literally saved the best for last. And interesting,
smart move.
Champ, you mentioned Believing was one of your standouts. Because that's the one I was talking about last week or whenever we were talking that reminded me of Nemophila.
Like, I think it's the heaviest song on the album. I think it's the most metal oriented song on the album. Like, and I think, it definitely is fun the whole way through too. Like it's got a catchy chorus, but it's got cool metal riffs in it and stuff like that. 100% agree with you there.
Yeah. Like when I closed my eyes during the instrumental sections, I just like saw Tamu going nuts on the drums and Hazuki and Saki just riffing on the guitars, That's just what popped into my head because it just had the same feel to me.
When I hear Believing, I just think of the chorus. All I can think of is the chorus. I can't remember the verses for some reason. Like, because you guys are saying it's heavy. I'm like, was it that heavy? I'm like trying to remember.
All you got to do is listen to the first like 10 seconds of the song, man. It's heavy as hell.
Well,
but what's the song that has some?
No, Maya start off like that, where it's like blasts you in the face with heaviness.
Well, they all have a lot of dynamic.
Yeah.
Like
it was like Maya was like chord heaviness though. It was like, here's this really heavy chords that come in with this drum beat.
The opening of Maya is crazy. It's just like in your face, like it just starts right away. It just blasts you with a riff. Like it comes in really heavy. But Believing does, but like there's like a little intro thing to it before it hits you heavy.
Oh, maybe I don't remember. What's the song? Which one had the chorus that sounded like that? All the things she said running through my head. You know what song I'm talking about? There's like a chorus where she does that vocal melody for a second on this album, and I was like super into it. I can't remember what song it was though.
I do not remember.
I think she even says what she said in I think it's like the same lines.
You know,
That's what she said.
I want to mention one thing about this album. Every single chorus is pretty fucking catchy. Like when we talk about this, I remember all the songs by chorus only, except for Metalism and Light and
They
Darkness.
say it's believing. Is the
Oh,
one I'm
it
thinking
was
Yeah.
Believing. Yeah, I love that song. That's Are they actually doing the tattoo song in that, or was that just happen to be? I'm gonna let Chad answer that question.
But
I'm
couldn't
just
you
curious,
imagine
'cause
Maya
I
singing
totally
that
heard
too?
that song.
Imagine Mayu singing it. Maybe they will cover one of the Baby Metal songs. They've covered Baby Metal in the past.
And Maya, like, never feel like would cover anything. It seems like they have such a vast, spectrum. But
Dude, yeah.
Yeah, but
So is this album like on their way to another goal they're trying to get sound wise?
so
They've been kind of hinting at that this is a step,
oh,
yeah, and like the actual album's gonna come out. The fourth one's gonna be the actual album or something like that.
what?
It's kind of mentioned like in the interview or whatnot. Like this was a lot of these songs are from the past, like older songs. Some of these are just older ones, so it's like kind of like the step up to that. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat, and it's something like that. So I have a feeling we're gonna get that fourth album fairly quickly, which would be
Yeah.
really cool.
So does anyone know kind of the lore? Because this is obviously a cohesive story album with an overall theme. Like, and they talk about like going to space and like, the lyrics kind of reference that a little bit, but obviously just one listen I wasn't able to capture the full story. So does anyone know? Is there any kind of lore that makes sense to anyone yet? Or
No,
the meaning behind this album?
I haven't
Not
even
sure yet.
I haven't even gotten to the meaning. I just been enjoying singing along too.
Cool. I just asking.
Yeah.
Well, we take a
no.
look at chat right now. T Waffle says they mentioned the 2 album was meant to destroy expectations of what Baby Metal is so they could grow.
Oh,
Lei Wulong says this album is 3.5, fourth album is on the way. So that's kind of what I picked up from
Yeah.
what I was reading. So that's
that explains
interesting
why it's
because
only 10 songs.
they've had, 4 or 5 years to work to develop this.
Mhm.
You don't know what was going on, if they had stuff already and they were just forced to wait for whatever reason or whatever. So they might have had these songs done for a couple of years already. Who knows, man?
Well, 'cause
True.
So, and then they might have had time to write more shit. So
Yeah. I do know like each of the song was a different story of the metal verse, right? But I'm not sure how they all connect. You know what I mean? That's
Seems
the
like
part
they always have a very carefully
Yeah.
laid out plan.
yeah,
You
they're
know?
playing the long
Mhm.
game for sure.
I'd love to know which songs that were the older ones and which ones were the newer ones, just so we could get like try to figure out an idea of like which
They-
direction they're trying
they
to go in. Because
You can't tell.
if like Divine Attack and Monochrome are the newer ones, for example, I would think that they're going more into like a hard rock zone. But if like Believing and Mirror Mirror are the new ones, I would think that they were going more towards the proggy zone, right? So I am curious which ones were older and which
Yeah.
ones were newer.
They mention it in the interview. In the interview, they do talk about that, which
Mm.
I'm almost done with that video, guys. We'll get that out soon. Where like so somebody has mentioned Monochrome's 5 years old, and
there you go.
I'm not sure about the other songs.
I'm kind of happy about that, to tell you the truth, because those songs, while I thought that they were like cool hard rock songs, I definitely like them a little bit better, I think, when they're doing a little bit of proggy stuff, a little bit of extreme stuff in
Dude,
there.
Monochrome is so good live though. I mean, they should just replace the album version
love
with
that
the live one.
Song, dude.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
those-
Yeah, it's a good track. For more Gaijin goodies like you just saw, be sure to subscribe to the Gaijin Guys podcast and turn on all notifications to be part of the live stream every Sunday. You can also find us wherever you listen to podcasts, Spotify, iTunes, etc. You can find even more exclusive content and reactions on our Patreon, patreon.com/Gaijin Guys. I'll see you there. Adios.